Hi there, Steve Stine again. Today I'm going to be teaching you Personal Jesus by Johnny Cash. I've had a lot of requests for this one. So to get started, remember, if you ever have any requests for songs, just click on the link and I'd be more than happy to teach you the songs you'd like to learn. Now, if you're familiar with this song and you're familiar with the original version, the Depeche Mode version, the Depeche Mode version is a lot more of a triplet feel, more of this. Johnny's doesn't do that. Johnny Cash's is more straight. So what you're going to want to do is think of it as a dun 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 more than a dun 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 kind of feel. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make an E power chord, which is done by placing my first finger on the 5th and the 4th strings at the 2nd fret. So I'm pressing on both of those at the same time. The strings underneath there, it doesn't matter if I touch them and deaden the strings. As a matter of fact, that's what I want to do because I don't want to hear those strings. All I want are the top 3 strings for this song, so you have to be a little more careful when you strum. So instead of making the full chord and making it sound major or minor, we don't want it to sound major or minor. We just want it to sound like this power chord. So E is open, and the 5th and 4th strings are pressed on with the first finger at the 2nd fret. Now the riff is going to be doing this kind of thing. So what I want to do is show you how it goes, and then I'll kind of show you how to strum it as well. And then I'll walk you through the rest of the parts, and you'll have the whole song. So the first thing is you're going to be using your middle finger on the 6th string of the 3rd fret. So after you pluck the 6th string with your pick, you're going to pluck it again, but you're going to put your middle finger on that 3rd fret of the 6th string, and then you're going to do a pull-off. So you're going to flick that string with that middle finger there. Okay? Now, as soon as you do that, you're going to go to the 4th string, and you're going to pluck that, which again is the first finger on the 2nd fret. Okay. Now I'm going to give you some suggestions as to how to play this, but ultimately you just need to figure out what feels most comfortable to you. So after you do the pick, and then the pull, and then the pick of the 4th string, then you're going to go back to the 3rd fret of the 6th string, pluck that again, and then you're going to start all over. So the basic outline of this is now, if I was to add a little more in between there, now what I want you to think about as I'm doing this, and again, please understand that the strumming part of all of these songs is, for most people, is the hardest part. So just be aware of that. But if you watch my hand, the goal is that as I'm strumming, I'm hitting some things in between, and the goal is that I'm not stopping. Okay, I keep moving the arm back and forth. Now you'll notice that sometimes I'm hitting more than one string, and that's okay. It makes it sound like an E power chord, and that's completely valid. So if I kind of break it down, I'm going down, down, down. So my first 3 things are downs. Because that pull-off would actually be an up strum, but I'm not doing that because I'm doing the pull-off instead. And then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to pluck that 3rd fret, and that's also a down strum. So up to this point, they're all downs. It'd be that one right there. You'll notice that I do that as an up strum. After I do this 3rd finger, and I go back to the E to start all over, that's where I have an up. So once I get flowing, the last 2 strums that I'm doing are actually up strums that start the song all over again. So let me do that really slow. The first part of this is by far the hardest thing, and then once we get through that, then the rest of it is basically just chords. So we've got this now. It starts with a down, pull off with a down, then the 4th string with the down, then the 3rd fret of the 6th string with the down. But then we got to come up with an up. And then I'm going to do an up again, and then a down on the 3rd fret to start all over. So when I first start the song, I'm starting on a down, but when the song subsequently keeps going, I'm actually doing the ups in between. And again, you just have to watch, and the most important thing is you have to listen to the groove. That's what you're looking for. So you have down, 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 up, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down to create that. And again, don't worry about whether you're hitting 1 string or 2 strings or even the top 3 strings when you're strumming those. It doesn't matter. It's all creating the same chord anyway. And when when a guitar player is playing this sort of thing, you're not really concerned with how many strings you're strumming. You want to make sure you're not strumming the wrong strings. But what you're more concerned with, again, is the groove that you're creating when you do strum. So as you're watching me, I have to be careful that I'm hitting the right strings. Now, after I come off that part, I'm going to go into the G chord, and then I'm going to go into what's called a D, F sharp chord. So I'm going into a G chord. It could be a 3-finger G, or it could be a 4-finger G. Okay? It doesn't matter how you play your G, however is comfortable to you. And then what you're going to do is go to a D chord, but when you go to that D, you're going to take your thumb over the top, and you're going to play the 6th string at the 2nd fret with your thumb. So the song actually starts with this intro riff, and then he actually does the chorus right away, Your Own Personal Jesus. So it sounds like this. Then you go to G, D, F sharp, then you're back out. Then when he goes into the verse, think of it this way. Anytime he's not singing, you're doing that riff. You're doing this. You're doing that. So when he moves into the verse, he's going to do that twice. Then he's going to go to G, then D, F sharp, just like before. But then he goes to A minor, then C, then back to the riff. Okay, so what we really have so far is the intro, and then we've got the verse part, okay? Now the chorus, to round out the rest of the chorus here, what's happening is you're doing that riff, same thing. Then he moves down 1 string, he moves this finger, this E power chord, down toward the floor 1 string, and makes what's called an A power chord. And there what he's doing is he's pressing on, again, whoever the guitar player is for this song. Should have done my research. I don't know if it was Johnny or not, but anyway, what you're doing is pressing on the 3rd and 4th strings at the 2nd fret, okay? And then what happens is you're just going to move your guitar pick then down to the 5th string, and you're doing it down here now, okay? Okay, so, sorry, you should be going to the 4th string right there. So it sounds like this. Here we go. So that's your entire chorus there is going from this E power chord to the A power chord and to the G that we talked about, the D, F sharp that we talked about. So again, if you're mapping this out, which I would advise you to do, get a piece of paper and you write this down, you've got your intro riff, and that's this thing. Okay, when you're doing the chorus, when he starts singing Your Own Personal Jesus, then you're moving from here to here. So you're moving down 1 string toward the floor, you're moving your pick down to the 5th string, and and you're plucking the 4th string, not the 3rd string. And then you're going to the G, to the D, F sharp, and then you start all over. So I'm going to play that whole thing nice and slow so you can hear how it sounds. Again, don't worry about whether you're hitting 1 string or 2 strings when you're doing that riff. Just make it sound as smooth as possible. And again, I know I've said this a million times, but the most important thing is you'll see how the arm just keeps strumming through the whole thing. So now I'm getting to my verse. Okay, and we just talked about that, but let me elaborate on it. So now my verse, I'm doing the riff here again. He's not singing yet. Okay, now he'd start singing. I'm going to do it twice. Then I'm going to go to G, to D, with F sharp in the bass, to A minor, to C, then I go back to the riff. As you start singing, so I'm going to do it twice. To G, D, F sharp, that's your verse, A minor, C, back to your riff again. Then he gets to the reach out and touch faith part. And I believe that's what he's doing, is he's making the top of a bar chord, which would be the 2nd fret. You're going to put your first finger, on the 2nd fret of the 6th string. You're going to put your ring finger on the 4th fret of the 5th string. You're going to put your pinky on the 4th fret of the 4th string, and then put your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. Then you're going to leave the bottom 2 open. Then you're simply going to take this shape that you've got here, you're going to move back 1 fret, do the same thing. Then you go back to your riff again. So it sounds like this. Reach out, touch faith, and then you're back. That is your entire song. So again, inside your head, whether you're writing it down or not, think of it this way. 70% of the song is that riff. So you have to get that riff down, okay? That's the main part of the song. Then it's where do we go from there? Well, if we're in the chorus, we're moving from our 6th string power chord, which is making that riff, down to the 5th string, and we're doing the same kind of thing as that initial riff. And then right after that, we're going to G, and then we're going to D with F sharp in the bass. So that's your chorus. So you visualize that or you write that down, okay? So you've got that handy. Then we've got our verse. Our verse is moving from the riff. We do the riff twice. Then you go to G, D, F sharp, D with F sharp in the bass with your thumb, A minor to C, and then it goes back to the riff again. So that's your verse. And then the pre-chorus would be this, which is an F sharp bar chord essentially, but we're leaving the bottom 2 strings open. And then you're moving down 1 fret to F, still leaving those bottom 2 strings, these 2 guys, open the whole time. And then the final thing to remember is whenever Johnny Cash is not singing, you're doing the riff. So it's a really easy way to kind of map it out in your head as to what you're going to be doing. So when you listen to this song, you want to be able to see all of those parts. You know, the main thing that I teach to my students is to be able to visualize an entire song without playing it. So when you go to listen to this song, you're seeing all the parts that I'm talking about, and you're seeing the movements in your head. And of course, the beauty of video is that you can always come back and watch it anytime. You can watch a small piece and then build that and then, you know, come back and watch the next piece and so on. So we've got our intro, which is the same as all of the breaks where Johnny is not singing. Then we've got our chorus, we've got our verse, and we've got our pre-chorus. So if you can think of those 3 sections and then understand that the riff is just threading all of those 3 sections together, you've got your entire song. So please remember to take it slow, have some fun with it, and remember, if there's certain things that I do that you find a better or easier way to do, by all means, go ahead and do it. These are just merely suggestions to teach you how to play the things that you would enjoy playing. So remember, click on the link if you want to learn any other songs. Let me know what you'd like, and I will do my best to get to them as soon as possible. Thanks, and have a great day.